Hey guys, Crypto Trader Vader here, and we're doing another Poloniex trading journal. If you are if you're wanting to skip just to look at whatever coin you want to look at, every coin I go through here, I'm going to mark it green on the spreadsheet on the left, so you can just scrub through the video if you want to find the particular coin that you're looking for some analysis on. Like I usually do, I like to start with a quick look at Bitcoin and how it's doing. So this is the 4-hour candle, and we can see that it's kind of making its way, obviously, in this bearish trend. It's been heading down for about 2 months or so now, and more recently, in the last 2 weeks or so, it's been on this kind of bull run when this bottom was hit back here. So it's hard to tell, of course, where it's going to be going, but if this channel continues, it could, of course, continue lower. My thought is it's going to pretty much follow this kind of grey line that I've drawn. I think things are going to slow down a little bit with Bitcoin. The excitement's kind of going to wear off a little bit, and the prices will go down, but a little bit slower. And this is just my personal prediction based on not a lot. And then, right around this point here, between 7 to 9,000 or so, Bitcoin will be dead once again, and that's where we will start to see the takeoff for the next run up, and that'll be a bit more sustainable. Whereas this most recent run up, of course, is a little bit overzealous in my opinion, but I mean, who knows? We could break through this line and kind of continue up a lot quicker. Of course, I'd love that. Only time will tell. So let's get into it. So I'm on, you probably noticed that for the last couple of videos I've been on a new platform, Coiny, instead of Trading View, and I've been looking at charts through here. Toomey, what's going on, bud? How you doing? Bloody Nano hasn't been doing too great, which is crappy. Ever since that hack of BitGrail, or the hack of BitGrail, Nano's been getting thrashed, but it's always a good time to buy, and today it's been going up quite a bit. However, that isn't in my bunch of coins that I'll be looking at now. So let's do it. Yeah, wrecked, bud. But it's all good, man. We got to take the losses with the wins. If you have 5,000% gains, you got to expect some losses as well. So I want to go through, obviously my spreadsheet and kind of what I said last week on a lot of these coins, and I think I was pretty wrong on most of them, but it's all learning for me, which is important. ADA, so let's have a look here. We're looking at the 4-hour candle, and of course, huge run up. Let's zoom in a little bit to the more recent time frames, and last week was the 15th, right around here. And I said that if it goes over 5,900 sats, we could see a bull run, which it didn't do, and it continued downwards, so I wasn't wrong on that one. Where's it going to be going for the near future? Well, it's getting down to these historical lows again. Now, I don't know if you remember back in November when I was first kind of started doing these videos. Back then, things were only starting to turn around from a long bull run for a lot of these altcoins, and you see here that there was these beautiful 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, where as it passed it turned around and started to go upwards. We're really getting almost, I'll delete that one. We're almost really getting to that same stage now, where a lot of these altcoins over the coming months will be forming these similar formations. And this is all stuff that I learnt through my course, the course that I did on digitalcurrencytraders.com. Recommend if you're interested in doing a cryptocurrency trading course, to check them out. I haven't done a video review on them specifically, but yeah, I learnt so much there through Lumbridge City and his trading style, and of course, learning through other courses and books as well. But that was really really helpful, and it kind of taught me about the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, which it's really it's starting to get down to these historical lows again. So we're at this point of resistance now for ADA, and we could see it go obviously lower, and if it does head lower, it'll probably jump down to kind of these levels, which again is another 1,000 sats, which is huge still. But ultimately, in the scheme of things, you know, for the potential gains, if you're holding ADA, it may. I mean, I wouldn't be too concerned about selling if you're holding for the long term. However, if you're looking at trying to make a quick buck, I do think it's probably going to be breaking through just because of the strength that is powering down here, and it's not really bouncing off very quickly. So I probably would say that that's going to be bearish in the near future. Let's move on to Bitcoin Cash. And Bitcoin Cash, yet again, continues to have these spikes, right? Every time the Bitcoin Cash goes up, it just goes all the way up very quickly. And then the decline is usually a lot slower. However, these most recent ones, of course, are in line with the overall trajectory, which is a downward one. Let's not do that. Spikes. What's happening? What's happening here is we're getting lower highs, which is a bearish signal. It means that the overall trend is down. And of course, you can look and say, well, maybe this is higher lows as well. And you'd be right. Like, there's obviously higher lows as well, which means that these, it really could break out either way, but it could break out in a downward direction or an upward direction. Whichever way it kind of breaks out through either of these lines will probably be a quick breakout. There might be an opportunity to make some money there, but personally I think that it's going to continue down. This strong bearish trend has had a lot of resistance. It's hit it, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times now, and probably going to continue lower. Bearish in the near future. I'll just copy paste that one from the previous. Okay, black coin. You probably noticed that a couple of these on my Coinig account have color on them. It's just a way that I'm kind of trying to remember which coins to look at, what to look out for. So pay no attention to that stuff. So with black coin now, we kind of have a possible 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, and we have that here, and I'll just quickly type it out so y'all can see it. Well, right now we really have 3. So really, for this to be a longer term 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, we need the price to now turn around, and we need it to kind of start heading on up. And if it does that, this is the kind of mark that we'd be looking to see a couple of candles break out and stay above this level. I'll move it up even a little bit there, at around what, 7,300 or so. And if the price does head up there, I mean, the price where it's at now, 7,300, is double where it is now. So really, it's got to make some big moves for this to turn into a longer term upward trend. If we zoom in closer and get really into the last kind of finer details here, we can see that it's really resting on this support, similar to ADA, where it's, if it's breaking lower, it's probably going to head on down to well, at least these levels here where the previous resistance was, and possibly even down here. This middle one's probably a bit of a weak resistance actually. So yeah, really got to watch on that one closely. A lot of these altcoins are in this big slump at the moment, and hence I titled the video that, the Great Altcoin Slump. Yeah, really not sure on this one. Probably put a watch on it, because if it does bounce off of that line, we could be heading upwards into that 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. Bit shares now. Thanks for tuning into the live video, by the way. I do really appreciate it. If there's any coins or anything like that you want me to check out, then yeah, let me know with a chat, and I'll do my best. If it's on Coinig, I'll certainly check it out. Bit shares. Now, I came across bit shares in the wild the other day. I was on Steemit blog, and you can fund your Steemit account with bit shares through block trades, I think it is. So what's happening with bit shares? I mean, it's getting to these lower lows. It's broken through the support, so I'm going to say bearish again in the near future. I imagine we're going to be seeing lots of them today. Let's move on to Clamcoin. Clamcoin got smashed broke through this support line here and is now resting on the next level of support. Now I sold some clam coin, I think around this mark, right around here, and I'll be looking to pick some up again, but I just want to see it form. I mean, a very tiny 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, but that's not enough to go on really. Ideally for me, the price needs to drop to around these levels, or possibly this kind of support resistance level here for me to start buying back in, and then I can host those coins on Just Dice like I've been doing before, and make money off that. So it's no surprise, is it? If we look at this trend line heading down, eventually, you know, this support's not going to hold. It's hit it once, it's failed, it's hit the support, it's bounced back, it's failed, hit the support again. Every time, and this is indicative of these kind of these lower highs. Every time the coin goes high, it goes lower than the previous time it did. So you can see right up here, it reached almost 100,000 sats, and then this one here is down to 94, and down here it hit only 79, 74, 69. So it really has a ways to go down, and probably an opportunity to pick up some cheap claims there. Hopefully. I'm hoping that this one's bearish in the near future, because I do want to pick up a couple of those at cheaper prices. Civic. Civic's relatively new, doesn't have a huge history behind it. Had a bit of a run up, but not anything crazy really. Of course, formed back here in December time, 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, and that's a past the 2. Ooh, huge. So you've got that sort of opportunity to look forward to if you're trading alts right now. Be patient. You know, if you're holding Bitcoin especially, be patient. If you're buying into a position, which is what I'm doing, I'm trying to, you know, I'm trying to turn 0.2 Bitcoin into 1 Bitcoin on Bittrex, which is a video that I put out every Friday, so that'll be tomorrow. But yes, I'm really trying to be patient and try and get out of any positions that are losing, because there will be another opportunity around the corner. Civic. God damn it. Looks like it's bearish also. See this 1, 2, 3, and it's broken down lower, which means it's probably going to be heading lower. Wow, so many bearish ones. Copy paste on that. Bearish in the near future, bearish in the near future. Everything's bearish in the near future. However, I think we're going to find a couple in here that will have an opportunity. I'm hoping anyway. Dashcoin. Dashcoin. I think it's just Dash, not Dashcoin. Bit of a channel here as well. And probably heading lower. It's hitting the support line, so be one to watch closely. So it's 1 hit, 2 hit, 3 hit, 4 hit, 5 hit, and now just seems to have broken through it with a couple of clean candles. So might be an opportunity to put a short sell on. I put a short sell on Dash probably about 2 weeks back, and it failed miserably because I put it on right here at around 69, and it just pumped up to about 73, 74. I closed it around 72, thinking, oh shit, it might be going higher. And of course, I should have held on to that, but that's a lesson learnt. Might be another opportunity here to get out of that if it's breaking lower than this support line. And especially, there's this thing with these sort of channels. I think I've spoken about this before. If you take a box, this is called the bend trade. And what it is I learnt this off the Naked Forex channel. If you want to check them out, I definitely recommend them. They're awesome. There's a guy on there that's great. And basically this is called the box trade. What it is if it's, you got these hits of support, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times it's hit it. And it's also hitting this point up top where it's 1, 2, 3, and almost getting there for a fourth. As the price comes out of the box, what happens is, if you turn it to the line chart, it starts to bend back upwards, and this is the opportunity to buy as it comes back down, which is exactly, opportunity to sell, exactly as the price is doing now. So it's come out of the box, it's come back up, touched the box, and now it's going back south, heading downward direction. This, if this candle starts to go red, an opportune time to buy, sell it, because it's heading lower. So that'll be a point of action for me, I think, to possibly sell some more of those. You got to keep trying. I mean, I did this exact, similar trade when it was up here, and obviously it failed miserably. It went the other direction, and I obviously had to close the trade because it hit some stops. And you're going to lose a lot of the time. So that's something that I've learnt. Ultimately, you're going to be losing a lot of the time, but it's important to make the winners better than the accumulated losers. Now, where will it stop if it does head south? Just out of curiosity, and mark some of these support lines. Here we go. So I think it'll probably go down and hit this corner line here because this trend's heading down, but also there's some support there. So there might be an opportunity to close this trade around 50.053. Put that in my notes, possible short sell. I'll get back to that and revisit that after this video, and hopefully make some money off of that one. Alright, let's move on to Decred. Remarkably resistant. This has been to a lot of bearish behavior from altcoins. Obviously these, the trend has slowed. Started here, kind of went to there, kind of went to there. Now it's broken through and it's there. So every time it's just starting to get weaker and weaker, and of course now we see the price has crashed. Price has gone down significantly. So, and hitting this previous support line here, if it breaks lower, which I think it probably will, it'll head down to maybe 640k or so. A lot of these coins I think are going to continue to struggle probably for a couple more weeks yet. And head downward. Dogecoin. Now I was wrong on Dogecoin because I thought that it would go down. I thought it would go down a lot more than it did. And it's obviously spiked back up now and starting to consolidate. But honestly, it doesn't make sense to me for Dogecoin to not get back down to these 25, 20 sats levels in the long term. I think it will get back down there. Ideally sub 20, where I can buy up a whole lot more and wait for the next run up. Dogecoin, I've said this before in previous videos, but if you look at the very long-term chart of Dogecoin, this is using weekly candles, so you can really see that this is over the course of years. It continues to have these giant run-ups in Satoshi. Every year or so there's one. So really we're at the tail end of one now. It's kind of hanging on a little bit longer, but it's not unheard of. Look at this here. Back in 2014, you can see the price kind of crashed down, but ultimately started to make a recovery, which it seems to be doing very similar behavior now. But ultimately, it headed back down and got down to as low as about 37 sats. This time it got lower, down to 30. This time back here, it got down to about 16, and same here with 16. So it's fairly clear to me that Dogecoin is overpriced, right? And how long it's gonna remain overpriced and how long the deflation of this bubble will take, is unknown and where it will stop. But it'll get down, I think, to around 30 sats or so, at which point start buying small positions, or at least looking for these 1, 2, 3 bottom formations in the smaller candles, in the 4-hour candles, and noticing that turnaround. And when that turnaround happens, again, a huge opportunity to make 5 times your money on this, especially if you're buying it around 15, 16 sats like I did. Bought at 16 sats here, bought again at 27, and then I sold at 100. So that's 5 times. Yeah, so how long it will take, I don't know, but bearish long term to about 30 sats. It's not a trade that I would short trade, because you can see the giant spikes. These things are dangerous. You hit your stops and then you lose your money. Alright, let's move on. Ethereum. Thought this was going to the moon for sure, did not. End up going there. Had a nice downward trend here, hitting this support line, breaking below it. Where will it stop? Well, we can try one thing. We can change ourselves to the daily chart, and we can try and guess where the Fibonacci retracement indicates that it will end. So if I take this Fibonacci retracement, draw it up all the way to the first bull run, we can see that the extrapolation on that first bull run hit exactly the 0.27, which is the first interesting thing that a Fibonacci does. It has this incredible effect of predicting where the price could possibly go and where the psychological barriers are for people. However, let's do the full bull run and we can kind of see where it ends. I'm just going to delete these support lines and let's have a look. Oh god, I've deleted the fib. Undo that. This support line. Oh god, I keep deleting that fib. Let's get this one. That's the one. Okay, so now let's have a look. And we'll probably gain some support around this 0.5 level. If we extrapolate this, sorry, if we take this back, not extrapolate, take this back to here, that 0.5 line on the full length of the bull run is around about 0.073. If we take this back to around this level, we have 0.072, 0.071. So it's very, very similar range there. So I'm going to guess that we're probably going to be hitting those sort of levels in the coming week or so. 0.73, 0.72. And I think that if you're looking to buy Ethereum, probably wait on and hang on until it kind of gets to those levels. And of course, it could possibly go lower than that and start getting down towards these of the full run, the 0.618 levels of about 0.06. Okay, Expanse Coin. I liked Expanse Coin. It started to make this kind of formation here. It was a possible 1, 2, 3, and it ended up going lower and breaking lower, so I retracted that. It never passed the 2 point, which is important. We can do a similar thing with the fib retracement here and have a look at where the price might rest. And now that it's broken beneath the 0.618, it'll head down to kind of this level, I think. So probably bearish to around 22k on that one. Far out, so much bearish. I know it's not what you want to hear. Being a crypto trader, you're probably looking for buying opportunities. However, as I said at the start of the video, just patience, because these sort of bottom formations, we need to have a long bull run a long bear run, really for these bottom formations to form. If we only have a very short bear run like this, it's really just a consolidation for a higher move, and I don't think that's happening. I think this will probably continue bearish at least for a week or two, or probably more like a month or two, and that at that point we'll have those bowl formations, the 1, 2, 3 bottom formations, and those sort of great opportunities to make a lot of money. Factum. Again, another coin that's been resistant to the big old slump that we've had, which is a really good sign. Followed this trend up, broke lower. Where will it go? Probably to this support line. So it's resting on the support now. If it bounces up, it'll probably come back to this green line. So I say probably it'll get to around 330k sats and then continue lower. Because a lot of the time they break these downward trends, the price will kind of try to get back above it. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it breaks through the trend line and continues upward. However, I think a lot of the time it'll hit the line or barely scrape it and then head lower. If I was to paint that for you, it goes something like that. Alrighty. Moving on to Folding Coin. Folding Coin. Just gonna have a drink, excuse me. Alright, Folding Coin, resting on support here. What do we got? Here's more resistance. Here's resistance. And finally, kind of there. Maybe a mini one there. Just trying to figure out placing these lines of where the previous resistance and support has been to try and determine where the price might start to slow down, and wherever the price starts to slow down is an opportunity where it could turn around, and that's that sort of bottom formation we might start seeing. At which point, who knows at this point. Looks like it's probably going to be breaking lower though, especially if I move that support line up slightly, because you can see here it's rested on it, broken down, tried to break through. It's probably more accurately up here. It's starting to break through. So if it does have a solid candle, if that next candle is red, and starts to go beneath maybe 240 sats or so, equals bear move, like a lot of them. Game credits. It's hard to make money in this market at the moment, isn't it? Where are the points of resistance? Really, again, this is another one where it's like it hasn't really formed a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, so it's probably going bearish in the near future anyway. GNO, same deal. Strong deflation. It's weird because when you see the price going down at during this kind of bit, during this first downward motion, right? It's kind of difficult to psychologically, it's difficult to think, okay, this is the start of the bear run, and then the price comes up and it touches and it can't quite get to this same level as it once was, and that's a 1, 2, 3 top formation, and we can see the price start to dwindle. And as it passes this 2 mark right around here, of course we can say, okay, it's probably over now. And this is of course looking in the longer term time frames, so in the 1 day candles. Whereas if we turn it around into the 4 hour candles, we get a bit of a more slowed down image. and we can see that support's broken multiple times. It's at another level of support now, but again seems to be lower than it. Seems to be breaking lower. Wow, it's just so, it's not looking great for these alts. Now I'm in some of these, of course, for for a longer term position, and we'll hold on for dear life for a lot of these. But yeah, I also have a different allocation of my funds that are used for trading, and whenever I'm in a position in a scenario, with, I don't know, for example with GNT, which was what we're on now, I think, yeah, we it's hard to get out. GNT, I want to get out, but it's very hard to psychologically to get out of it, because it feels like it could turn around. You feel like you can get your money back, and it's kind of one of those things that is a lesson that I repeatedly need to drill into myself to really learn it, because it doesn't make sense in the traditional way. It doesn't. You can't really trust your emotions. You can't really trust your gut in trading. It really has to be a rational thing, and that's kind of what is so challenging about it. Put a watch on that. LBC, library credits, continues to break my heart. This one continues down, and now resting on this long-term support line. No, it's beneath it. My notes on that one. Yeah. So it's got a ways to go. Probably bearish on LBC as well. Yeah, that looks like it's bearish in the near future too. My God, I'm hoping that we find one or two in here that are showing some good signs. I think we will. I'm still optimistic that there'll be a couple in here that are presenting something that's a bit more lucrative. Lisk had a big run up, had this huge spike here, right? And I sold right here on this huge spike, and was thinking about buying back in, but thought it might be a bit of a pump, so I waited, and of course it went back up to those levels. I haven't bought back in yet, and won't do for now until it forms something like a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation or something to indicate that it's over. Again, just drawing in these lines of support and resistance just to give us an indication of where it might land, and as it breaks through, probably start landing around the 180 sats or so mark. For Lisk. Damn it. I like Lisk. Let's move to LTC. Big run up on LTC. I remember way back a few weeks ago, I correctly predicted back here that it would go down to 14, which it did, which was the previous support level here. But I thought it would continue around this mark, and I was definitely wrong about that. It bounced very strongly, hit this resistance point of 0.18, and then eventually actually broke through the historical high against Bitcoin. If we go back to, I don't know, let's change it to a week. We'll see that very rarely has Litecoin been above 0.02, and of course back here it got to crazy levels, but that was ludicrous, and really now it's getting to those similar kind of crazy high levels. Now of course Litecoin's come a long way since then, and there's been a lot of developments, and overall it's a fantastic coin to have in your portfolio long term. Silver to Bitcoin's gold. It's got a lot of the technologies that Bitcoin tries to adopt, first to get Lightning Network and things like that. However, the long-term stuff aside, where is it going now? Looks bearish. See this downward trend line? Every time it goes higher, it's lower than the time before. And what will probably happen is it'll crash, a little bit lower here, probably hit this support line back here, down here, about 0.018, and then try and get back to this green line, and won't get there. So I say bearish to about 0.018, and then it'll come up and try and touch the 0.02 again. That's my prediction. To touch. Back to touch. Alrighty, Navcoin. Back in the 4-hour candle now. Okay, good. Navcoin, nice. It's resistant to this downward trend, like a lot of altcoins are in this at this point where they're getting to these historical lows. Navcoin is kind of resisting that, which is great to see. And of course, we have the same kind of pattern with a downward trend. Every time it tries to spike up, touches this green line and can't quite get there. And so, we're again, once again with Navcoin, presented with a bit of an opportunity where this trend line here, which is really not a trend line because it's only touched twice. We really want to see kind of 3 or more touches on one of these lines to indicate a trend. If you extrapolate it all the way into the past, rather, if you look historically, you could kind of say, I mean, you got to squint your eyes a little bit, but you could say that this is a bit of a bullish trend that it's resting on now. So there may be an opportunity if it maintains this green line and kind of goes green, maybe passing 17k sats or something like that around there. You got a couple of green candles, then we can do a bit of a swing trade and sell at around kind of these levels. So how that would look, our favorite rectangle, would be kind of buying around this point and probably selling around this point, which doesn't seem like a lot, but you know, 17 to 20, that's still 10%. So there might be a bit of an opportunity there. So I think that's something I'll watch for. If above 17k equals bull to 20, I'll say 19.5k. And I'll just pop a star here because I do want to check that one out later. Oops. Okay, OMG, let's move on. Nice. Another coin that we have here. So there's very few of them, but really there's a handful of coins that are being resistant to this slump downwards, right? So we have OMG being another one of them, and of course now approaching these areas of resistance where it really needs a bit of strength to get through them, but could possibly, and especially given that this, if you look at these, it's really the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. Happened back here, right? 1, 2, 3, it passed the 2 mark here, and you can see it shot up. Now what we're seeing longer term is the 1, the 2. Let's cancel that and delete this, and I'll kind of show you the longer term here, where if you count that as the 2, and you count this as the 3, then we really need to pass this mark. Well, you probably have to count this as the 2 because that's the subsequent high. So really it needs to kind of pass this 180k sats mark, and once it kind of gets through that, we can see that OMG could be heading back up, and of course getting to these nice levels. So there might be an opportunity there as well. I'll be keeping an eye on that one because that's probably happening over the next week or so, to keep an eye out for that. If it does break the 180k sats, greater than 180k equals bull run. Okay, good. So we've got a couple of coins now that are kind of presenting some opportunity, which is nice to see. A lot of the market, of course, depends on the ebbs and flow of Bitcoin, and that's why it's so good to see some of these coins being resistant to that pressure from Bitcoin. As Bitcoin price has a lot of volatility, I've said it many times, the more volatile, whether it's up or down, altcoins suffer, because people really need the stability of Bitcoin to be able to get into their favorite alts and kind of trade them. Whereas if Bitcoin's going up very quickly, people want to get out of alts and ride the Bitcoin train up. And then if Bitcoin's crashing, people need to get out of alts. They have to go back through Bitcoin a lot of the time. And so that's why you have the alts suffering as people get out of Bitcoin to get out. So it's this weird situation where you have, whether it's up or down, if Bitcoin is moving very quickly, then yeah, altcoins tend to suffer. Of course, it's not always the case, and I'm wrong many times, but that's just my take on it generally. What am I up to? Sorry, rep. Okay, so rep. I mean, it's showing a little bit of strength now, which is good to see. But of course, this is a new low. So really, what we need the price to do is, if this is in fact the low, it needs to go like this. It needs to drive up. It needs to hit a point here. It needs to come back, and it needs to fail to get down to these lower levels again. And at that point, when it breaks this mark, the 2 point around here, that's when we can call it over and jump on. That's where we'll trade in. But until we get the 1, the 2, and then the 3 bottom formation where the price tries to get down lower, but it can't, there's no point taking that trade. So it's a good one to watch though, rep, because it could be turning around, I'll say. And I'll keep a note on that. I probably won't need to note that because that's probably a week or 2 away. And by then, I make these videos every Friday, so by then I'll be making another video and we can check that out. I should put here, could be turning around for rep. Now, see a coin. I think see a coin got pretty smashed. Yeah, here, look at this. Eek. Sea Coin got absolutely smashed here. I have a friend that's in Sea Coin, and I told him when it was here to sell, buy back at kind of these levels, which of course wasn't perfect, but he would have picked up a little bit extra, and of course now it's thrashed even lower to this 200 point. Interesting where these, every time the price goes lower, you have this kind of support line that gets hit a couple of times, and you have this lower highs. Every time the price goes higher, it's lower than the time before that. And then eventually, it gets squeezed. It hits the bottom here, hits the top here, hits the bottom here, kind of gets squeezed, hits the top again. It's just getting squeezed into this smaller tracking. It gets less and less volatile, and then eventually the pressure builds up and it needs to get out. And so either it explodes upwards, which is the ideal scenario, and you can kind of trade just above this trend line, catch it as it's breaking through, and it shoots up like that. Doesn't always happen though. In fact, what obviously happens, half the time, or at least half the time, is it'll go the other way. So it'll break down, and as it breaks down, you get a nice big red candle, some consolidating, a bit more red, and ultimately heading in a bearish direction. See it many times. See a coin. What's happening with it? Could be again turning around, but we really need to see this price gain some more strength. And it's not getting there quite yet, so I'm going to go ahead and copy paste this bearish in the near future into that one as well. Let's move on to Steam now. I am on Steam, by the way. Steemit.com. It's so cool. It's great. I love this platform. I've left a link in the description, I think. If not, just go /Vaderific. I'll put it in the description once this video is uploaded as a recording, and yeah, visit me on my blog. I pretty much blog daily. I get on there daily. Not everything's crypto related, most of it is, but not everything is. I have some other interests as well. And Steam is on this support line. So the way that Steam works, the fundamentals behind this coin is, I'm very much a novice at this, so don't do your own research and obviously look into it more if you want to know more. But the way that I understand that Steam's purpose is to you hoard it. It's kind of like a master node or staking it. When you buy up the Steam, you can put it and hold it in your Steam at blog, and by holding your Steam at blog, you have what's called Steam power, and that makes your votes, your upvoting of your friends or your following, the people that you're following, makes your votes worth more. So there's definitely an encouragement for people to hold Steam because it gives their voting power. It gives them more voting power. So that's why I think long term this is a great buy. However, of course, the short term, trading wise, looking at that chart, who the hell knows? This could be again the turnaround mark, but doesn't look like it is. Such a strong downward pressure here. Probably going to be going lower. Far out. I hate to do it, guys, but I really got to copy paste this. Look at this, bearish in the near future, bearish in the near future. I'm going to mark it. Mark it as a red. I'll mark it as an orange. Let's move on to storage coin. Hasn't been very resistant to the downward pressure from Bitcoin, and like many coins, really hitting these rock bottom prices. Well, we think they're rock bottom now until they go lower, and then that's rock bottom. So, we need a plan for it to possibly move lower, and looks like storage is breaking lower now and probably heading to around this mark, around 76 sats or so, 7,600. I'm glad that Navcoin and OMG kind of had some bullish opportunities there, because there's not a lot else in the charts at the moment. STR. Stellar. What's happening with Stellar seems to be still very inflated if you look at the very long term, of course. So it's probably got a ways to go lower, and it's probably not going to be a slow decline if you look at these kind of resistance points. There's another one here. Oh no, I think it's probably going to be heading south again, down to about 3k sats, possibly even 2,500 down to these levels. Don't think it's going to be a smooth ride on that one as well. Might be time to sell a couple of those. I'm thinking about it because I'm holding, I think, just a handful of them. Maybe sell some and buy them back when they're a bit cheaper. Put the roundabout symbol in that one. I'm not sure the exact level. Strat. Now. Goddamn strat. Broken lower against this support line, which isn't great. I'm holding some strat. And probably an opportunity to sell as it bounces off this yellow line here. We'll put a watch on that one and check in with that, because I want to possibly sell some of those. Third coin now. VTC. Here we go. Okay, so now look at this. We have really our first inkling of a possible 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 bottom. It's broken through the 2. It's come back to rest on the 2. This is very similar pattern to what we see frequently with the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. Now it's resting on it, and this is very similar if you're paying attention to the box trade, which is what I was saying earlier. As the price exits this box, right, it's hit this, now it's broken out of this box up here, and it's come back into the box, hit down the bottom of it, hit up the top of it, dawdle around a little bit, you could even close it up to this level where it's hit a lot more times, come out of it, but let's keep it here for now. The line, the bend, is at this point you buy because it's starting to bend up from the box, so that was kind of a false alarm, and we have it consolidating a little while longer. But if we have another green candle where it starts to go upward, maybe around kind of to 41, 42k sats, at that point might be an entry. Right around 42, right around here. Might be an entry there. Let's change back to candles. So the 1, 2, 3 bottom in the box formation is kind of similar, because you have these points where the price comes back to consolidate and then will take off, hopefully. So if the price does kind of, you know, start to bend upwards, an entry point would be where this little arrow is here, and then obviously we can start to look at where to sell, probably around 55, adding to your position if you want to. So that's going to be a watch for me. VTC opportunity presenting itself with the return to the 2-point. If it starts to go green at this point, there's an opportunity. So what did I say about 42? So if we're going to go, that's a less than sign, greater than 42k equals bull run. And watch that one. So there's an opportunity there. XCP. Broken lower against this support. Hate to say it. Bearish in the near future. Sorry. Monero coin. Oh, check this out. I put this on my TradingView. If you don't follow me on TradingView, I'll chuck it in the description. Check this out. Show order history. Where is it? Oh, it's not coming up. Oh, that's because I did it on Bittrex, I think. I want to show y'all. Look at this trade that I did. Look at how flippin' close I got here. So I predicted this point where it hit a couple of times. I bought in right here, and I'll put this on my trading view before the fact so you can check it out. I predicted around here that it would head bearish to 26, and then I sold it right at 29.6, right this level, which is like a squidgen off the very, very top. And it was so quick because I expected it to take a little while to get there. And it was just super, super quick. Because if you look, and the reason I made this call, right, is if you look at the history. I'm going to go back to Poloniex actually, just so we can trade the right chart. If you look at this history, right, it's constantly hitting this 30. It's broken out. It's not a fake out, breakout a couple of times. But ultimately, right, and this even going back here to these historical levels back in September last year. But, of course, every one of these lows is higher than the last. And that's tracing it back right back to here. It's broken through a couple of times. It hasn't quite hit a couple of times. Ultimately, it's getting very much squeezed into this ascending triangle. So over the coming, if you take nothing else from this video, over the coming weeks, maybe at the latest kind of mid-March, there's going to be either a very nice upward push for Monero, in which case it'll basically moon without getting too excited. Or the other option, of course, is that it breaks lower than this trend line and goes kapow, downward. However, what I think will probably happen is a combination of both. It'll test going lower, I think, Everyone's anticipating this. Every trader's looking at this chart and going, "Oh my God, it's getting squeezed. Oh my God!" Right? I think that the traders will anticipate it. It'll break this green line momentarily, and that's what I think anyway. And then we'll see it kind of break through both of these and head higher. That's just my personal prediction based on a feeling. Don't go by that, but do your own research on this chart, and I think you'll see very similar things to what I see, which is this giant upward trend hitting this support continuously. Let's move it back to the daily chart and go zoom a little bit further back. It's on a tear. It's still very much at historical highs right now, which you can't say that for a lot of altcoins. Very few of them are at historical highs, especially ones that are outside of. So I'm talking against Bitcoin, not in US dollar terms. A lot of coins are still very much close to their all-time highs in dollar terms, but against Bitcoin, Monero presents a unique use case. It's private, and it's private in a way that a lot of other coins aren't. Fully fungible. So I mean, obviously I'm bullish on I'm biased for Monero. I'm bullish on it. I hold Monero. However, I'm trying to remove that bias cap just to look at the technical side of this coin, and it still looks very good. So that's my call on Monero. Bullish in coming month. So that's another one. There's very few. Nav, OMG, and Monero look bullish. A lot of the other ones are slumping. Hey, there's 2 people watching live. Thanks for tuning in. Okay. XPM. Look at this. I don't see this pattern very often because I'm not often looking for it, but if we change this to a head and shoulder, and it's broken this neckline. So you can see here when you do the head and shoulder, right, you start down here, you put it to the peak. It can be over here, it can be over here, probably over here, and then you bring it right down to this very lowest low, which is right here. Then you do the same with the head, bring it all the way up, and then this shoulder here, the lowest low, right there, I think it is. Let's get that really right. And what happens is, if this line continues along, if the price is, let's say the price is here, it hasn't broken what's called the neckline. This is the neckline on the head and shoulders. But as the price breaks the neckline, which is it now has clearly with several candles, and now it's starting to hit this support line and probably break through that. XPM, if I was holding it, I would be very cautious. I would be watching this support line and probably getting out of that one. Next level of support is down here at about 4,000. So big. I mean, this is big support, of course. I'm talking. There's probably other support lines where it could consolidate. However, Doc J, are we bull and bear on what? Which one? On Bitcoin? Or on XPM? Because definitely bearish on that one. Bearish. To 4,400 sats. XRP. BTC. I'll have a quick look. I'll just interrupt this. You got to go to bed soon, man. Let's take a quick look. So of course I've got here I showed this at the start of the video, but obviously this is the channel that Bitcoin seems to be trading in, and it's made a recovery before where it went back up to this mark here around 17,000, and then obviously continued lower. It could be going lower, and of course I'm holding, so I'm hoping that's not the case. It may very well, it's obviously had a very strong bull run. So this bull run here, if we look, let's undo that. If we look here from about 9,200, this bull run was kind of weak, right? Because it failed straight away, and and then, you know, continued for a little bit, but didn't really make it up. Whereas this one here, it's been a lot stronger, this bull run. So it's made it up. It kind of failed a little bit, consolidated, but it didn't really go much lower than this. And it makes me think, hang on, maybe it's a bit stronger, this bull run. It's certainly short term, probably going to correct a little bit. The levels of support are right around here at around 950. Let's call it 10k or so, around that sort of mark, where it's going to get some support. It's almost there now, and if it obviously breaks lower than about 9,800, 9,900, around that mark, if it kind of heads lower, we could probably say that Bitcoin's going to, you know, 8,300 or so. Good luck with your trading, Doc J, man. Hope you have some winners. I don't like to trade with my whole portfolio, as anyone that's watched these videos will know. I only like to trade with a small percentage, because ultimately the long-term game is where we win. But it is kind of fun to, you know, try and grow your Bitcoin holdings through this sort of trading. And let's go back to XRP now and finish off this sheet. Ripple, right on this support line. I actually made a Steam blog post about this recently. It's right on this support. So I think what is probably going to happen, and I've been wrong before, and I'll probably be wrong many, many more times, is it's going to be bouncing off this support again. So I've seen it happen a couple times. It hit it first, it very quickly bounced. This one here very quickly bounced up. Here very quickly bounced. These sort of bounces, oops, I should get rid of the draw tool. So yeah, each of these bounces has been significant, and I don't think there's any exception with this one. It could, of course, break lower. A weaker Bitcoin, you know, a crashing Bitcoin even, will certainly put a downward pressure on XRP. I hope that's not the case. I personally think it'll be bouncing up, and I've got an order. I've actually bought in some Ripple right around here. I've got a stop loss set to about 8,800 or so. It's relatively tight stop, and a sell order set for around 10k or so. Yeah, careful, Doc J, man. You just said you've been trading back and forth the last 2 hours or so, haven't made a dime or lost a dime. Yeah, man, it's tough. If it's causing you to sweat and have too much anxiety, dude, maybe just chill and take some risk out of it. Take some money off the table. Trade with smaller amounts. You know, try and grow smaller amounts. If you're trading with, say, a whole Bitcoin, trying to time the market and grow that one Bitcoin into more, maybe take that off and either decide that I'm going to hold, you know, 0.8 of it long term, so not going to worry about that. And with the 0.2, I'll trade that. I'll see how I can build that. Just taking some of the risk away from it. Yeah, Litecoin, it's going to follow the same trends, especially if you're trading against the US dollar. Litecoin's going to be following very similar trends to Bitcoin. I personally like to trade against Bitcoin because I think that market's pretty interesting. So that's Ripple. What did I say about that? Bullish in coming weeks. And watch after that. Zcash now, last one. I just want to have a quick look at Syscoin as well after I do Zcash. So Zcash has this weird bullish thing going at the moment. It's kind of, you know, defying the rules of all these other cryptos. You know, a lot of other cryptos are struggling, and Zcash seems to be doing okay. Although it has come back to this start of kind of February level, so hard to say where it'll go. It does look to me like a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. Now, what we said before, Vertcoin was the other coin that this was happening with, right? So we've got a 1, we've got a 2, and this is the 3 here. So as the price has passed the 2 mark, we've kind of seen it come back and touch it. It's even dipped slightly below it, and obviously taken it off, and now it's dipping at that same level. So this is another opportunity to get into Zcash if it starts to turn back around. And of course, we really want to see a little bit more confidence in Zcash. We want to see some green candles coming up to around this level and bypass maybe 0.045 or so. And if it can do that, then we could have another bull run for it. Hard to say. Alright, I'm saving that. And the last one I want to just quickly look at is Syscoin. If there's any others you want me to look at, just let me know. Yeah. Just reading some of the comments here. That's good, man, yeah. You're right, there's no telling. There's no telling what's going to happen with Litecoin. Syscoin. Okay, so Syscoin, I think, is in a very similar position to Monero, where it's kind of in this upward trend. I predicted that it would break out into this triangle right around here, which was end of January time. I predicted, oh, maybe it's going to go, and it did for a second there, but it has come back down. So Syscoin, I think, is going to have a very good year. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the coming weeks are going to be good, especially with this very strong resistance point that has tried to kind of break through many times. It's around 7k sats or so. It really needs to break through about 7k sats for it to really turn around. But when it does, it will be huge, I think. And Syscoin is one of only a handful of coins that are very bullish on, and I think is going to do very well in 2018. And that marks the end of another video. Poloniex Trading Journal. Thanks for tuning in. If if you want to stay tuned for if you want to catch the other videos, make sure you subscribe. I've got how many subscribers now? 96. I'm pumped. I've got 96 subscribers, so I'd really love it to get a few more. Share it with your friends if you want to share these videos around. If you've got any suggestions or anything like that, leave a comment. And thanks for tuning in. Have a good one.